that good. Okay, so the question is this. Are you into heavy music production? More specifically, do you record and mix your own tracks that fall within the heavy music genre or genres at home? Well, if this is you, you probably have found out by now that it ain't easy. As a matter of fact, achieving a pro-level metal mix or heavy music related genre mix can feel almost impossible. And to be honest with you, there are very few people out there producing top-notch results in their home studios, specifically within the metal genres. Most of us are stuck producing basement quality demos at best. Now, if you're passionate about your results, I do not want you stuck at this level. And I found over the last 5 years of running this YouTube channel that there are very specific reasons why most people do not achieve the pro-level mixes they're looking to achieve. And that's exactly what I'm going to outline for you in this video so you can get over these mistakes and produce the results that you really want. Let's dive into it. Trap number one that holds people back from achieving pro-level mixes, and why achieving pro-level metal mixes feels almost impossible, is because you're probably lost in an endless sea of overly complex and contradictory YouTube mixing tutorials. Now, believe me, I get it. I use YouTube as a resource all the time to learn new skills. The problem, specifically within the heavy music genre, is that most YouTube mixing tutorials turn mixing into a science experiment, and it holds so many home studio owners back, which is sad. People are taught to search for problem frequencies and search around and notch out issues in their mixes that are causing things to conflict. I have news for you. Mixing doesn't work like this. Yes, there are exceptions, but this is the wrong mindset to get caught in when you're looking to truly improve your results and achieve the results that you hear on your favorite albums. Please do not turn EQ into a science experiment. It's more of an art than an actual science. I also hear this a lot with drum tracks. I don't know what is going on. The last year, everyone's obsessed with phase on drum tracks. Yes, phase is important in the recording phase, but when you're in the mix phase, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never even thought of this. And I've been doing this for 20 years, recording professionally for a living. Please, if you're mixing live drums or programmed drums, be conscious of phase, but I'm willing to bet that phase is not your problem. Learn the basics of mixing drum tracks. And the other one that grinds my gears is people obsessing over complex sidechain compression techniques, whether it's on their master bus, kick to bass. But then when they send me their mixes, they have way bigger problems than sidechain compression. Yes, sidechain compression can help. It can add that extra 3%, 5% to the mix. But again, you want to focus on the big picture moves that actually make a difference. And those big picture moves are the basics. Basic level, EQ, and compression techniques. Please do not get lost in an endless sea of overly complex mixing tutorials. It's a waste of your time. Now, the second thing that I see holding so many people back, hundreds of people back, thousands, maybe even millions of people back in their home studios, is that they're so focused on the sexy stuff, like the latest amp sim or drum software, and ignoring the boring stuff that the pros actually do, like drum editing, detailed MIDI dynamic editing, vocal tuning, and mix automation. Yes, I know these plugin companies are great at marketing, and you probably feel like you need the latest and greatest drum software or amp modeling software or amp sim software, but the truth is that's not where results come from. Results come from the process that you use and the techniques that you use within your productions. No one wants to edit drums. No one really wants to dive deep into their MIDI drum programming or instrument programming. No one wants to tune vocals. It sucks. I know. No one wants to go crazy with automation, even though their music probably requires it. Okay, and just like the last one, the next one is another big one. You are constantly distracted by gimmicky plugin companies. Now, don't get me wrong, I love plugins, I buy plugins, but we have to keep in mind a plugin is just a tool. And I found that a lot of the newer plugins coming out are just constant rehashes of the stuff that we all already have. What if I were to tell you that you don't need to buy any plugins to achieve pro results? That's right, you can achieve 100% pro results using just the stock plugins within your DAW, and I don't care what DAW you're using. If you don't believe me, let me prove it to you. Let's head up into my mix room. Okay, so here we are. I'm actually inside of Reaper, which is a DAW that I do not use very often. If I'm being honest, I only mainly use it for live recording where I'm tracking a band live at a venue. But with that being said, a few years ago, I decided to challenge myself and try to mix a song from scratch using only the stock plugins within Reaper. I decided to do this because Reaper is virtually a free DAW. I believe it's $60. That's what I paid anyway for the license, just to prove that you do not need any plugin outside of the stock plugins to achieve a pro level mix. Let's check out this mix. So everything you just heard was done exclusively with the stock plugins within Reaper. And again, I'm not even that familiar with Reaper. And the way that this was accomplished was simply by using solid mixing techniques. No fancy plugins required, just the stock EQ, compression, saturation, and reverb and delay plugins right within this $60 DAW. Not bad. Okay, so to drive this point home even further, I have another example here. Right now, we are in my main DAW, Pro Tools, where I've pulled up an old mix of mine that I did before I really even knew what I was doing, if I'm being honest with you. And most of the plugins were stock plugins that I used and really outdated older plugins, but mainly stock plugins. So again, this is a mix that was done in my old Project Studio with budget gear, a cheap Firewire interface, a Digio 2 to be exact, a handful of microphones, and a bunch of stock plugins and old, outdated plugins. Let's hear what we have. Some stock saturation. A stock amp sim for the bass. If it's good enough for us, then it's good enough for us. And I'll take my chance with it. Stock plugin for reverb. And if the difficult would pass, old delay plugin by Waves, which is I think over 20 years old now. Really basic stuff, rudimentary, simple stuff. The Metric Halo channel strip on drums, which I believe was released in 1998. Again, I'm saying this because modern day plugins are so much more powerful than these plugins, yet people still have issues with mixing because they're inundated thinking that they need to own all of these fancy tools, when in reality, like I've said, all you need to do is understand how to mix. You need to understand the process. All right, we'll listen to a little more. And I know by the way you love, and I know that I'm second best, but I'm closer to your right than yes. Just a moment ago, I was worth a foolish second thought. A moment ago, it's gotta be just. Oh, and by the way, this was recorded with all live drums and no drum samples, a very straightforward home studio produced track. And again, ancient plugins here, some Wave stuff, stock plugin for the amp sim, a Mic DSP plugin. I don't even know if people use this anymore, the analog channel, and a little bit of a Waves limiter. There you go. Proof that you don't need fancy plugins. Don't fall for the marketing. So like I said, you can achieve pro results with just stock plugins. Please do not fall for all the marketing gimmicks that you're inundated by online. Do yourself that favor and save some money. Okay, so maybe even bigger than the last two, believe it or not, the fourth thing that I see holding so many of us back, ironically, is that people focus way too much on mixing itself. I've got news for you. When it comes to a professional sounding mix, only 30% of that is really due to the mix itself. So much of a pro sounding production comes down to great arrangement and songwriting. And next is great sound selection, source sound selection. We get so caught up in the mix that we forget that a great guitar tone comes down to achieving a great tone in the first place, or tuning your drum kit properly and setting up your mic placement properly, and understanding how to tune drums, or how to pick the right samples for your song if you're using MIDI drums. And believe it or not, another thing that people seem to overlook is capturing a great performance. I hear so many sloppy guitar performances and poorly played drum tracks or poorly programmed drum tracks. If you have bad performances in your production, you will never achieve a pro quality mix. I hear it all the time. Don't let this be you. If you focus first on the arrangement, songwriting, source sound selection, and great performances, you're already 70% of the way to an amazing sounding mix. You could even have an okay sounding mix, but your production will still come across as professional. Believe me, it's true. Take my advice. All right, so number 5 is a big one, specifically if you're a self-recording musician and you're wearing all of the hats of production and you're recording and mixing and producing your own music. And that is that you have no system or roadmap to follow when producing your own tracks. Now, what I've learned, especially when working with some of my coaching clients, is that people will sit down, they'll record a couple riffs, they'll program some drums, and all of a sudden they're thinking about mixing and mastering. But here's the problem. They're completely working out of order. We have to remember that even though we're producing in our home studios, if we want pro results, we have to kind of think like a pro would. A pro producer doesn't start mixing and mastering an album before the album is even written. Think about it, it doesn't really make any sense. You need to have structure. You have your writing phase, your tracking phase, your editing phase, your mixing phase, and then finally, your mastering phase. If you're trying to EQ tracks before your performances are even right or fully written, by the time you finish your song, if you ever finish it, because I'm gonna be honest, most people don't even finish their tracks, the song's gonna be different and all of those settings that you used will not work. Think about it, it really makes sense. The truth is that if you wanna make progress with your music, you need a system. And the good news for you is that it doesn't have to be complicated. Pro results do not come from complexity, they come from a simple roadmap and a solid understanding of the basics. In a world of overabundance and conflicting information, this should be good news for you. Now, I want you producing pro results with the gear and plugins you're already using, and I don't want you making any of these mistakes. I want you producing better results tomorrow. Now, because of this, right now I'm offering you direct access to my exclusive training, 4 dead simple ways to massively improve your recordings and mixes. Now, in this training, I share with you my #1 technique for prepping heavy guitar tracks that virtually mix themselves. You'll also learn how to create instantaneous clarity within your mix using any old stock EQ plugin. Finally, learn how to take control over the levels in your mix so that instruments stop fighting with one another. And as a bonus, you'll get to learn how to craft radio-ready vocal mixes using only stock plugins. Now, a word of warning. If you're one of these people that's constantly scrolling to TikTok and you have the attention span of a f***ing squirrel, do yourself a favor and don't register for this training. It's meant for people who are serious like I am about audio production. If you're sick and tired of chasing your tail, now's your chance. You can register for the training for absolutely free. There's a link below in this video's description. So as you can see, I'm super passionate about this topic because I'm just like you guys. I'm recording in a simple project studio. Right now I'm recording in my house because my studio is currently being rebuilt. Building a new studio. Finally. I spent 10 years of my life churning out really bad sounding productions because I was inundated, again, by all the false crap information online. And it's even worse now. Now, home recording has been around for a long time, and as you know, technology has gotten better and better. But the truth is, from what I've heard, a lot of the results that people are getting in their home studios are getting worse and worse. And it's sad. I sort of feel like we might be kind of like on the decline, sort of like the downfall of home recording. If you're interested in hearing my theory on why this might be happening, check out this video. In the video, I share with you my thoughts on why I feel like home recording is sort of declining, which is, again, sad because the technology is amazing. Most of the tools are free. If this interests you, check out that video. And until next time, drink that Spindrift.